Mariners drop a game, drop a series today to the Toronto Blue Jays, who I almost called the Maple Leafs for a minute. Julio Rodriguez did get to come in and have one plate appearance. In that plate appearance, he was hit by a pitch on a piece of protection that looked like nothing and then lifted for a pinch runner. His MRI results did come back as nothing abnormal, so he was just going to have the day off. Scott said he might come in as a pinch hitter. He came in as a pinch hitter in a situation where we needed a couple of runs, and we weren't able to get them. The Mariners left the bases loaded in the eighth and ninth innings, stranded two runners in the bottom of the 10th to lose the game. But let's talk about some of the good news for the Mariners. Logan Gilbert, first time All Star. He was named to the American League All Star team today, which is wonderful for him. He is the only representative of the Mariners as of right now. As you remember, Mariners are only entitled to one. If they don't win a vote or get selected as a reserve, the commissioner can add people, but every single um, team is entitled to one player on the All-Star team, whether that be a position player or a pitcher. I believe pitchers are guaranteed to go three plate appearances, but I'm not 100% sure. But the fact that he was just named to the All-Star team is really good. He's probably one of the best Mariners we have this season. Colin Snyder took the loss. Green took the win. And we struck out a lot. We had 10 hits, 4 runs on 10 hits. Blue Jays had 5 runs on 10 hits. They did commit an error. It was a weird error when it went off the tip of a guy's glove and it was just boom gone. Other good news: Mitch Garver hit a 3-run homer and went 2 for 5. Uh, in 6 plate appearances, he was on base 3 times with a home run, 3 RBIs, and of course the run scored. JP struck out twice in 6 plate appearances. Not liking that. Victor Robles, though, whoo, on bottom third, and that was right after, in the middle of the top of the third, I had to run to the bathroom and I missed most of it, and I came back. First thing I see is Robles hitting a home run, his first home run both of the year and as a Seattle Mariner. It was one of those ones where you're just like, wow. So we had 40 at bats, and then another 5 plate appearances from walks, and then another. So where is hit by pitch? Where and then another. Where is the? Oh, there it is. Two. Then we had another two by hit by pitch. We hit one batter. They had 38 and 5. No, 38 and 3, 41, 44. So we had more plate appearances and more chances and more walks. We left the bases loaded in 2 innings in the bottom of the inning, including in the ninth where we had a chance to walk it off and couldn't. Cal had a chance to walk it off in the 10th. Unfortunately, he did hit a deep fly ball, but there were 2 outs, so we couldn't bring the tying run in to go to the 11th. We used every single player: Crawford, Garver, Rayleigh, France, Rojas, Polanco, Bliss, Canzone, Haniger, Robles, Rodriguez, and Dylan Moore. Um, Jorge Polanco went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and 1 hit by pitch. And he was the ghost runner in the second, or in the 10th, until it was determined that we would have Ryan Bliss come in for him. So that was a thing that happened, and he had the chance to win it for us in the ninth, and he just couldn't. It was not good. Polanco struck out in I think his second strikeout amounted to 8 strikeouts and 11 at bats. Um, like in a span of 11 at bats, 8 of them had been strikeouts, which isn't good. I don't know if Jorge Polanco will continue to be on this team after the All Star break. I don't know if he'll continue to be on this team tomorrow. He is not a good option at second base. He is not a good option in the offense. His defense is bad. His hitting is bad. His attitude's not terrible when it comes to, like, he hasn't broken his foot on a cooler, but it doesn't look like he wants to be here. So that's a whole other situation that we got to worry about. of what are you doing? Doesn't look like he wants to actually play baseball. It was traded to us by the Twins, and it looks like the Twins knew, but we don't. And at one point, everybody involved in that trade was injured. The worst part about this is that we went 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position, and they went 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 on base. We left 15 on base. Those extra 15, we had 15 more runs we could have scored. So if every runner scored, obviously that's never going to happen. If every runner scored, it would have been a 1914 Mariners win. But we didn't have timely hitting, leaving the bases loaded. Thankfully, at no point did the bases become loaded with no outs, but it was just bad. After the Garver 3-run homer, we had an 88% winning percentage. But then the George Springer home run in the seventh, a 3-run homer tied it, brought the winning percentage basically back to 50-50, with Toronto gaining 31.5 percentage points of win probability to go up to 46.1. Obviously, they ended up having 100% win probability at the end. But at the 10th, Dalton Varsho single that scored Vlad 62.5 to 62.4 win percentage. And then our win percentage keeps going up and up and up until Cal Raleigh flies out sharply to center fielder with the bases loaded. What was really funny was when when they intentionally walked who the hell was it? Intentionally walked somebody to get to Polanco, and then Polanco just not great. And then there was a very long challenge that was weird because all it did was not overturn it. It confirmed the ruling on the diamond that the runner was safe, advancing on a double steal, and that was Robles getting a steal. He's really good at stealing bases, and I think he should be in the lineup more often. If Julio ever needs a day off, he proved he can play center field. He's got a bat. It's such a good opportunity to have a fourth outfielder who can play like he does. Problem is, our third outfielder is Mitch Haniger, who isn't very good. And we've also got Dom Canzone, who gave up a run today, taking a bad route to a ball. I can forgive that. He's a young player, but it's just one of those things where it's like you'd love to have better outfielders, and you can't just rely on. We've seen what happens when you try to rely on Julio. He's always trying to swing out of his shoes and play hero ball. And that just doesn't work. That's not who Julio is. Julio's a guy who, under normal circumstances, will get you 30 home runs, 100 runs, 90 to 110 RBI, and 30 to 40 stolen bases, while striking out about 30%, 25 to 30% of the time, and walking about 5% of the time. But this year, he can't do that because he's expected to do everything. And on top of all of this, this is the 12th consecutive game the Mariners have struck out 10 or more times in. 12th consecutive game. So minimum 120 strikeouts over the last 12 games. So as of right now, the Mariners have 950 strikeouts. They have 6 games left before the All-Star break. If they strike out 10 times in each of them, they'll have 1,010 strikeouts. The Athletics have 887 strikeouts. There are only 8 teams with over 800 strikeouts as of right now. The fewest strikeouts is the Astros at 625. Our average is 217. It actually went up. Base percentage is 280, or no, it's not 282. It's 297, 5th worst. Our slug, wow, Baltimore slugging 460. That's really good. Our slug is 363, 3rd worst. So our OPS is probably pretty low. 3rd worst at 660. That's not sustainable. Nobody is doing well on this team overall. Mitch Garver's still not batting 200 on the season. He's our designated hitter / backup catcher. That's a whole other problem because if you bring the if you're starting catcher has to come out of the game and the designated hitter comes in for them, that means you lose the designated hitter for the rest of the game. If the designated hitter enters the game at any other defensive position, you no longer have the designated hitter, and the pitcher has to bat for the rest of the game. Which you can pinch hit in that spot, but then position player on the mound rules come into play. It's a whole thing you don't want to deal with. It's best to not make this lineup mistake. But unfortunately, we made this lineup mistake when constructing the roster. 92 games through the season, and we're actually in a better spot this year than we were last year. We weren't leading the division last year. We were actually either 500 or 2 games below 500 at this point last year. It was during that time period where we would like win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, lose 2 games, win 2 games, lose 3 games, win 3 games thing, where we were 500. We were at 500 every other 5 minutes during this time last year. If we get hot and have a stretch like we've had like last August or the 14-game win streak from 2 years ago, good things are going to happen. Problem is, I don't know how hot we're going to get. So, yeah, that's the Mariners for today. We have an off day tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, actually. I have an exam tomorrow in my class, so that's fine. I am excited to see if we make any roster moves tomorrow and potentially reinstate Brian Wu on Wednesday.